So I'm a little bit excited, as you can see, because today's video is all about the scans that I took, or the photos that I took. Can't even pronounce it right. Getting all my terminology mixed up. So these are the photos that I took with the Pentax 17 on that day out in Durham City. And of course there'll be links to the videos, all of the mentioned videos in the description of this one. But today's video is basically about having a look at the scans that I've received from Analog Wonderland, because I've just been notified. I've got an email for those guys telling me that your scans are ready. So you can tell I'm looking forward to this, but you know, fingers crossed, we've got some keepers. So let's take a look. We're going to dive into the email and I'm going to go through the process a little bit about how I've come to receive the scans and all the rest of it. We'll then jump on their website and into my account and take a look at the scans and see how well I did or not so well. And then I'll also go into Lightroom, because on the package that I chose, it was to basically edit the photos myself, correct the exposures myself. You know, but we'll see how accurate I got the photos on the day. So let's jump into the email now and we'll go ahead with that. So here we go. Here's the email. You've received your scans. So let's have a look at the photos. Basically, you can see here, you can choose to have prints, but I don't think I'm going to get any prints from these. I want to see my photos. We're going to head over to my account with Analog Wonderland and check them out. So here we are. These are the scans now that we've got. We've got Durham Cathedral there. Some of the river shots that I took. Alleyways. In the marketplace. A nice pint of Worthingtons there. It was a warm day, so... You know, the exposures, some of these are looking a little bit overexposed to my eye. But we're going to see what we can do with that in Lightroom. Now, I did obviously shoot on the plus side, on the exposure compensation, just off what I'd read. I went at +1 on a lot of shots. And then for the rest of the shots, I was at the standard exposure and letting the camera do the work. But yeah, I'm going to count how many exposures we got there, how many scans. So for whatever reason, I ended up with 51 scans. I don't understand how that's happened, because we had a roll of 24 Kodak Gold, 24 exposures. The Pentax 17 is a half frame camera, so we get double that, 48. I've ended up with 51. I'm not complaining, but can you tell me how that's happened? Because I'd like to know. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over into Lightroom and I'm going to see if I can bring some of the highlights down in these images, because as I said, they look a little bit overexposed to my eye on the website there in my document, the folder of where my pictures are. So I'll download them, import them into Lightroom and have a little play around, and hopefully we can get something out of these. And another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of the images, I don't know whether this is to do with how the lab have cropped them or whatever they do, but it looks as if, and I have a sneaking suspicion that I've been using the viewfinder on the Pentax 17 a little bit wrong, because I did notice this on the day, that when you look through, it has got those yellow framing bars, and maybe those are the safe zones. And I think what I've done is I've used the whole viewfinder for the image when I've been sort of lining my shots up, you know, making the composition. So maybe that's a mistake that I've got to keep track of in the future, because it does look like some of these images have like got the tops cut off, and the cathedral's not all completely in there on some of them, and that pint of beer, you can only see the 2/3 of it, and you know, that's not how it's supposed to be. So that'll be something to keep in mind going forward. But yeah, let's jump into Lightroom and have a play around with these images. So this is one of the images, and this is how it came straight back from the lab. This is a scan imported straight into Lightroom. And what I'm going to do is just pull the highlights down, and you can see I can do that via the histogram bar in the highlights, or come into the basic panel in Lightroom and pull the highlights down. So next up, I'm going to add a little bit of dehaze to this, just to put the punch back into the image. I think this is just because it's film, basically. It looks a bit washed out to me. So I've put the punch back in, but for my taste, it's added a little bit too much saturation. So what I'll do next is I'm also going to pull down the shadows in the tone curve. Again, this is to add to that depth to the image, and you can see there that it does create a richness in the shadows and in the greens of the trees and the blues of the sky, of course. But again, for me, this image now is too saturated for my taste. So I'm going to come down into the calibration panel, and I'll always go to the blue hue first. And I'm going to pull the saturation down on this, maybe 15, 16. And that to me looks like what the image did on the day. And of course, I also took a video on the day for reference, and I'll link that video in the description of this one. So overall, I'm fairly happy with what I managed to get from the day. You know, like I said, there was some shots that it's totally on me that I've been framing them up wrong in the viewfinder. You know, but I've got another 4 rolls of film that I'm going to get through, and you know, I knew mistakes were going to happen, but you know, for the most part, I was in P mode for the whole day, and they turned out how I expected, bar the cropping issue. Totally on me that though. So, you know, going forwards, I'm excited to use this camera. It's a totally different way of shooting, obviously, compared to digital. And there's something about it. I can see why people are invested in film photography and why it's, you know, had a resurgence. And Pentax, I think, have definitely got themselves onto a winner with this little camera. It's so light, easy to use. You can take it anywhere. I didn't take it abroad like I said I was going to, but it's just, I think it's a novelty. It's a nice camera to use, and you know, maybe we see some more film cameras from Pentax, but for the meantime, you know, I'm going to be back out using it. I've got some black and white film to use with this, and I'll probably be making some more videos on that just to document the process. And yeah, overall so far, it's definitely a thumbs up from me. It's a nice camera to use, and my first experience of film photography has been pretty decent. So let us know what you guys think. Maybe some pointers as well. If you saw anything that I was doing wrong or right or whatever, you know, I'm all ears as always. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm out for now.